Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Wednesday's edition of the dceu Daily. And I found a beautiful article for us to go through from the Hollywood Reporter talking about these Birds of Prey reshoots and why they're a very good thing. They're not interfering with Cathy Yan's movie. And it's just to make these action sequences so much better. Should we give it a read? Birds of Prey reshoots and a filmmaker's vision. John Wick director Chad Stahelski will design new action sequences for Cathy Yan's film. And his experience suggests he will be supporting her narrative, not meddling with it. And I totally agree with this. The Birds of Prey are cranking up the action. Last week, the Hollywood Reporter learned that Cathy Yan's upcoming DC Comics adaptation, Birds of Prey, and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn will receive some backup from John Wick trilogy director Chad Stahelski. I can't say it. Stahelski's stunt company, 8711, has been working on the film since production began. Right, hang on a minute, right? So he and his company have been there all the time. So this is not a new thing. You see, it's the way you report things. And these bloggers and these pundits haven't said this. And that's despicable, because then it led me to do my video last week insinuating that Cathy couldn't handle the stunt work. So I apologise to Cathy for that if she watched this video, which I doubt she did. But anyway, where are we? Working on the film since production began. As additional photography gets underway, the stunt coordinator and filmmaker will be joining the crew in an uncredited role as second unit director to craft more action scenes for the film. Now, let's be clear. They've been working on these action scenes all along. These people, this man. While fans have been waiting for the first trailer to finally see Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, Huntress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Black Canary, Journey Smollett-Bell, Rini Montoya, Rosie Perez, and Cassandra Cain, Ella J. Basco in action, the long wait for the footage may be because Warner Brothers wants to showcase the film's stylish action set pieces in order to make a stronger first impression. While there's been some reservations expressed on social media, an uptick in fight scenes for an R-rated street-level superhero movie can only be a good thing. I agree. Of course, news of reshoots are often met with concern, despite them being standard part of most major studio productions. Again, that's true. The biggest movie of all time, Avengers Endgame, had 2 sessions of reshoots scheduled in the fall of 2018 and spring 2019, and no one batted an eye. No doubt some level of that reshoot concern stems from how Warner Bros. Handled Suicide Squad 2016 and Justice League 2017, resulting in very different final cuts than what were initially marketed. But things have changed at Warner Bros. Since then, and studios' restructuring has led to some transitions of power that are promising to avoid the missteps of before. While there is perhaps some amount of trust yet to be earned from the studio when it comes to their DC properties, that is, if the successful directorial visions of Aquaman 2018 and Shazam 2019 weren't enough, Birds of Prey appears to be in safe, capable hands. The brief teaser video announcing the start of Birds of Prey production earlier this year showed off Yan's style for the film and some of the cosmetic choices for the characters. The pop-punk aesthetic with a splash of neon isn't too far off from the look of the John Wick films. Again, that's true. While it's hard to know exactly what Yan's style and voice is, her first feature, the Sundance-winning Dead Pigs, has yet to receive a domestic release. There's little doubt that Stahelski's additional photography will still result in a cohesive-looking film. What's key to assuaging some of the fears associated with reshoots and with this film in particular is that a second unit director is exactly that title suggests, and is not a hired gun sent in to redo or reshoot Yan's film. Now, let's not forget, a hired gun was sent in to kind of change Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and that made over $1 billion. Do you remember that? But that's not the case here. We don't have another Justice League Joss Whedon situation on our hands, which seems to be the main concern on social media. Stahelski has a long history of working as a second unit director on films that include Captain America Civil War, The Hunger Games, and Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. And as the most recent John Wick film, Parabellum, which arguably showcased Stahelski's best work so far, he's a visionary when it comes to constructing complicated and consistently engaging action sequences that don't spare a drop of blood. It's not uncommon with these superhero movies for a director who has never focused on action scenes before to need a little help punching up certain beats. Even Christopher Nolan, as extraordinary of a director as he's proven to be, displayed some struggle with the quicker-paced fight scenes in Batman Begins. To be honest with you, I thought the fight scenes in Batman Begins were awesome. Just my personal view, though. 2005, but the Birds of Prey, 15 years removed from Warner's renewed interest in DC Comics, audience expectations in terms of what they expect and want to see when it comes to comic book adaptations are loftier than ever. There's a dearth of superhero combat, regardless of how interesting the characters are. There's a desire to leave audiences satisfied with seeing comic book-styled action brought to life. Stahelski's inclusion practically guarantees Birds of Prey will showcase things we've never seen before. John Wick killed a man with a book this very year. I can only imagine what the Birds of Prey will accomplish when left to their own devices. A really brilliant article by Richard Newby, by the way, and I agree with every syllable and every word. So let's back up a bit and see. You see, this is the problem. I reacted too soon, and again, I apologise to Warner Brothers and Cathy Yan. But basically, right, this is what happens. These things come out, they seem factual, but nobody mentioned to me that this guy and his company were choreographing these stunts from the very beginning. And he's just having to go back because they want to, he's a perfectionist. Him and his company are a perfectionist and want to make this awesome. I can imagine kind of the first Deadpool style action sequences. This is going to be very, very like Deadpool, this film. I can just tell. It's going to be funny. It's going to be exciting. Look, the DCEU is in great hands under Walter Hamada. Now, I know we all love Zack Snyder. I know we all love MOS and BVS. I know. But for right now, he's gone. I mean, he'll never run the DCEU again. But with what's going on, with what we saw, the stunt that Jason Momoa pulled, meeting Zack and Deb the other day, I think there's a chance that Zack could direct one or two DCEU films. Still, but him not being the lead of this franchise anymore. I think that Walter Hamada is just best suited to run this franchise. I think he's doing a super job. And what's happened here with these reshoots, right, is a bunch of people with an agenda trying to destabilize the franchise. There are some Snyder fans that just keep on trying to push the narrative. Even, as I said in my last DCEU Daily, talking about Shazam being a failure is embarrassing for you because the film was not a failure. You know, I keep on seeing people on Twitter holding their copies of Shazam and being so proud. People love this film. And let's not forget, for you, those of you who love Zack Snyder, you know, David F. Sandberg did a great job in trying to kind of Easter egg some of Snyder's action sequences from MOS and BVS. The Easter eggs from those movies was brilliant. This is the DCEU. The DCEU is going strong. We will always be proud of MOS and BVS, and hopefully we can get the Snyder Cut. So changing the subject of Birds of Prey, because I really do think the grass is green, really green for that movie, and I'm looking forward to next year. Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984. Wait till you see WW84 next year. It is going to blow your fucking socks away. So what chance have we actually got of seeing the Snyder Cut maybe this year or the beginning of next year on HBO Max or DC Universe? Now, a lot of people have asked me in my DMs over on Twitter, at Movies TV Mad, if you want to follow me on there, do I think that what Jason Momoa did, visiting Zack Snyder, confirming he's watched the Snyder Cut and he thought it was sick, I don't believe this is a stunt. I have some involvement in this industry. I know this industry. I'm very cynical about this industry. Do you really believe that a man who works for Warner Brothers, who's going to be making a sequel to Aquaman, would have risked the wrath of the studio he works for? Of course not. Warner Brothers want to release this movie, but they're just biding their time. They're waiting for the right moment. I believe it's coming. I believe it's coming soon. I think Warner Brothers want Momoa to big it up, because I think, actually, what's really happening is the Snyder Cut's becoming really important to HBO Max. If this film launches this streaming service, this is massive. This is more massive than anything Disney Plus have got. Their Star Wars content, their MCU content, their animated content, no matter what they've got. Nobody has got the Snyder Cut. This is an anticipated film. This is a version of Justice League. This is a totally different version of Justice League. This is the version we should have had in cinemas in November 2017. Zack was betrayed. If it wasn't bad enough that Zack and Deb's daughter took her own life, they had to put up with this nonsense as well. The betrayal from Kevin Sugihara. Sugihara has gone now. And it's been, Warner Brothers is being driven by a very different will now, my friends. And I do believe the Snyder Cut is coming. And I think sooner or later, there will be an announcement. Personally, if I was you, I'd keep on Twitter. I'd definitely keep on checking my channel, because as soon as that news breaks, it'll be exclusively one of the first places you will hear it. So cross your fingers. I believe the Snyder Cut is coming, and there's nothing to worry about in terms of the Birds of Prey reshoots. Please comment down below. I will try and get involved when I launch the premiere of this video, and I will see you tomorrow for Thursday's edition of the DCEU Daily. But who knows? Today's Wednesday, so I may do additional videos, because I'm really up for talking to you guys right now.